Wake up, Mr. Tipper. It seems you're my guest once again.
I don't think much of the hospitality.
You never take your death seriously enough.
I thought this had your stench all over it, Kalos.
I'm pleased you still have your sense of smell, Mr. Tipper.
Let's cut to the chase. Just give me the crystals, and maybe I'll go easy on you.
You are in no position to bargain. They will be staying with me.
Has anyone ever told you you have a screw loose?
Yes, but in 2 minutes I will still be in one piece, unlike yourself. Goodbye.
Hey, look, we can work this out. Hey, can we talk about this? Whoa! Not good. Whoa! Hope you still got the guarantee, Kalos.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is ShadowFox007 and welcome back to another episode of Retro Week. Today I'm continuing the whole Timesplitter tradition with Atom Smasher. I kind of really enjoyed this level, especially back in the day, because you kind of were this whole James Bond. It had that, reminiscence of, trying to get out of the chair, and you had your little gadget. And of course, me being a 007 fan, hence the last digits of my name, I really wanted to play it. But to say the least, this did not go off without a hitch. It took many outtakes, if you will. And if you're actually interested in seeing those, feel free to leave some comments, leave some likes or whatever, and I'll put them out there for you guys if that's what you want to see. I wouldn't say they're overly funny like my other ones, but yeah, there were several handfuls of fails. Let's put it that way. But the main part, I really want to have a discussion with you guys. It's been a while since, we really kind of maybe talked about a topic that was kind of on my mind. And I wanted to have today's topic be about, like, hard work versus natural talent. And to me, it's kind of an interesting thing because, like, and this is the stance, if you're a hard worker, could you surpass someone, say, who's naturally talented? And if you think of it in terms of like anime, I would say like a Naruto, would he, being who he is, he's a hard worker, he's very determined, he never quits, could he surpass his friend Sasuke, who was considered a quote-unquote genius? And personally, I think you can. Now, are there always exceptions to the rule? Of course. And is it going to be very difficult? By all means. But is it possible? And I would say, yeah, it is. And I remember having a discussion with a friend in college back in the day, and he always had the stance of, if you're naturally talented, you're never going to be surpassed by someone who just works hard. And we would always argue, it was like, well, I don't fully believe that. I hate to say I can't do something. I've always been a person who was determined, and no matter what, I would try my best and give it all I had. And, at the end of the day, that's all you can really do. And so, I grew up with the whole cliche that no matter what you can do, as long as you put your mind to it, you can do it. Now, I wouldn't say that's reality, and I can't say, just because you think it means you have to put a lot of effort. And will you achieve exactly the same goal? Like, for example, you're like, oh, I want to be president, if you actually think of the reality of that, you have a lot of people backing you, you have a lot of constituents that you have to kind of cater to in order to get the airtime, the media, and so you start changing what you may or may not do based on the people who are backing you. So are you the president you wanted to be? Are you the person who wanted to change the world, help the middle class, when in reality you may have to help corporations and of that nature? So I don't know. Yeah, you might achieve it, but is it exactly what you want? For hence the putting your mind to it. But he would always like to bring up the the, hey, you know, can I become a basketball player? Because, you know, he would always like kind of, we like to play basketball. That was our thing. And he was about like 5'6", I want to say. And he's like, oh, it's always going to be impossible for me to be a basketball player because I just don't have the natural, you know, height for it. You know, if you're taller, it's just things come easier. He always used to say that. Now, I would say, and I always said, well, you know, if you worked at it like day in, I mean, and not just when you're in college or in high school, but if you were young, you know, you got a shot, you got faster. You know, look at some of the players, and I used to say, well, what about Spud Webb? What about Muggsy Bogues? And then, of course, he would say, well, you know, they're not the best players. And I was like, what about Allen Iverson? And, of course, he would say, oh, well, the reason he's good is, you know, he's still not that short. You know, he's taller. He's like, what, 6'1", 6 foot? But I would always say, well, they worked at it. They had to work at it. You know, everyone probably discredited them that they aren't the tallest. They're not 6'7". And yeah, it probably didn't come as easy, but they still were able to achieve the goal of becoming a basketball player. And even, but you know, was that wasted effort? And now when I'm in the workforce, we actually had to read a book, which was kind of interesting. And the topic was, you should basically spend all your efforts on things that you're good at, you're naturally good at, and not wasted on maybe topics or skills that you really aren't meshed with who you are. And they gave this example of Rudy. And if you don't know who Rudy is, he was basically this football player in college that wanted to play for his team, Notre Dame. But he was small, he was rather scrawny. I mean, they made a movie about him. And for the most part, they didn't give him the time of the day to be a successful football player. They didn't let him play. You know, he just wasn't good enough. But that didn't stop him. He tried and kept on trying. And eventually they let him play. I think it was the last game and maybe the last couple of plays, and he got a tackle, and that was not it. And of course the book says, well, why do all that work for nothing? And I think the book misses an essential part of who we are as humans. And that's the ability to succeed and do something that, yeah, it wasn't easy, but we're satisfied with attaining a goal that many believe that we couldn't do. And I think that's what makes us special. For example, we want to fly, right? Humans wanted this ability to fly. Everyone's like, you can't do it. The Wright brothers invented a freaking airplane to fly. I mean, we want to live longer, and look at all the cures that we have. We have like penicillin. Yeah, sometimes they were luck and sometimes they were fluke, but people spent time trying to figure out ways to, you know, have antibiotics, have cures for cancer, cures for whatever diseases, in hopes that we could make our lives longer. You know, we have how many things for sanitation, all these inventions. And I think that's the beauty of working hard, is that, yeah, it might not have been easy, but yet, because we put that effort, we can do many things. And I always like to say, maybe not the whole basketball aspect, but I want to take like the football aspect. You know, and I'm a huge football fan, so that's kind of why I'm going that way. So it's a little cheap, or it's easier for me to talk about. But I would say, how many people in the first round that are drafted as #1 picks are actually good in the league, or how many of them fail? If you actually look up, I think the last time I said, I want to say it's only like less than 20% actually succeed in the NFL. The #1 picks, and especially the quarterbacks, were even lower. And so it kind of just goes to show you that just because you have the natural ability, and you know, everyone sees that you're this physical specimen, does not guarantee you success. And that's where I say, I think even if you have the natural ability, if you don't work hard, if you don't try, you still can't obtain success or be an MVP or a Hall of Famer. Granted, if you do have the natural talent and you work hard, yeah, it may be a little easier, but I'll go to say this. Look at Tom Brady. And a lot of people are like, oh, F Tom Brady. Well, why is there so much hate? And I'll be honest, I was for one who actually really hated on him, because I thought everything came so easy to him. He had the good looks. He has Giselle and a baby, and he's multi MVP, Super Bowl winning. It just seemed, and of course he's the quarterback, so he's like the pretty boy, and he just seems successful. Like everything came to him on a golden platter. But when I actually listened to him and I saw an interview and I saw that he got drafted like the 9th or 10th round, and he was 189th, and then I saw his combine and he's super fucking slow. He looks scrawny. I mean, I could see why people passed on him, because they looked at who he was physically and thought, this guy has nothing. But they couldn't test what he had inside, his heart, his determination. And because of all that, because he decided to work hard, yeah, he may not have been the most physically prowess, but yet look at what he's attained since then. And you don't have to believe me if that's why. I mean, just look online, look at where he was drafted. I mean, this is all the stuff that he had to go through. And that's kind of where I leave you. Even people as, say, Michael Jordan, a lot of people is like, oh, he's another person that came easy. But if you actually look at, and I remember reading a book about him, he got cut, I think, in his high school team. Of course, he became successful in college. But even when he was playing with the Bulls, a lot of people like Isaiah Thomas were like his hurdles, and he had to get past those, and he had to get better, and he practiced. He worked on his fadeaway, he worked on his assist, he worked on his steals. If people put all these obstacles, he always strived to get better. And I would say that's something that I don't see as much as I would like, especially because people get paid so much. They're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, and now it's like, oh, well, we can't make them work too hard because we don't want to hurt our asset. We don't want to hurt our bottom line, so we're going to do all this stuff that, just to preserve them. But I think that takes away from them reaching their potential, because I think they could be so much better. And I'll be honest, like, I remember watching, like, Shaquille O'Neal, and like, he was this huge guy, right? And everyone was like, wow, he's just a physical being, he's dominating. But I would always say, I think he could have been better. He could have been so much higher, if he worked hard, if he could freaking hit a free throw so they stopped hacking him, if they actually, he worked at all this stuff. And yeah, he may have had a coach a free throw, but he never got it. And I can't say, then is he worth all that money if he can't hit a free throw? I think they could have worked at it and he could have got better. And I think that's the determination. So I'll leave it with that. Which one's better, hard work or natural talent? But for now, this is Shadow Fox signing out. And until next episode, I'll catch you all later. Peace.